this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. So on, I believe it was Sunday, Juliana Hatfield did a live concert of one of her albums from beginning to end. So she performed her album named Bed, and she had done a live stream in the previous month of another album, but I just happened to miss it. I'm in a Juliana Hatfield fan group, kind of like a Facebook group. So I always get the Juliana Hatfield news usually. But with Facebook shadow banning, just anything they can, I didn't hear about her live stream concerts. So luckily I had seen somebody post an image of it as it was happening on Instagram when I just happened to log into Instagram because I'm kind of building my business Instagram pages up, which, like I said, I'm not going to do Instagram every day, but I am going to make sort of static business pages that kind of look good, whether or not I update them once a week or once a month. They'll have kind of an overall appearance of I'm on Instagram if you want to contact me here, and just give a kind of, just use that as a commercial for the people that are still in the Instagram world, which I anticipate might not be very long. I'm preparing for Facebook and Instagram to be totally irrelevant, but I'm still sticking around while it does have some traction in some way. Today I want to talk about a band or a musical artist doing a live concert online just once a month. I just wanted to put it in perspective of the 1,000 customers or the 1,000 true fans or the 1,000 super fans idea. So if you type in 1,000 customers or 1,000 fans into a search engine, you'll come up with a bunch of videos, and a lot of people have talked about this concept of you just need your first 1,000 customers and then you're fine, which I don't know if that's true. But I do like the idea of if you're starting something new or you're creating a product, I kind of like to think about it as I just need to get 1,000 people to buy this thing, and then it'll be worth it. It'll be worth the time and energy to make it. That is, if it didn't take you more than $5,000 to create. A lot of things that I do, and a lot of people, and a lot of maybe creative people do, is that they have the ability to make something 100% on their own. And a lot of times you don't even need to buy materials. You can kind of create something out of nothing, like a movie or a book or a million other things. There are some products where you do have to use materials. So if you're creating jewelry or planters or painting something, to where you do have to make it once, spend the time and energy making it, which is time is money. And you do have to invest a little bit of materials, sometimes a lot of materials. But if you could focus on getting a $5 profit per your thing, minus your time. So if we think of that $5 for the sale as something that you can pay yourself back after you've made the money for your time, after you figure out your profit loss rigmarole, if you could just make $5 or figure out a way to make something just a $5 profit to where you can actually pocket that money. If you could just get 1,000 customers to buy your thing with a $5 profit, that's $5,000. And that could be in a month or it could be in a year. But I feel like it's possibly a very relaxing way to think about when you're spending your time and energy creating something. You're at least going to get $5,000 back if you could talk or wrangle in 1,000 people to buy your thing. So I was thinking, if Juliana has a live concert performing an album every month, and she could probably do that for the rest of her life because she has a ton of albums. Not many people or not many musicians are in that position necessarily. And she did have a hit, or she was famous for a time being. I guess you would say she's still famous, but there was a time when she was on the cover of Spin magazine and she had videos on MTV and all the things that you want, back in the 90s. If she has a concert, an online concert a month, that I feel like doing something a little bit interesting, that's unique, that's a one-of-a-kind experience, whatever the ideas are. I'm sure there's a million ideas that people can do, but let's just go with the idea of doing a full album, front to back, by yourself acoustic or full band, whatever it could be. I think that if you could get $5 a donation or a ticket price or some way somehow make it fun and enjoyable for somebody to come to your show at a certain day at a certain time and just log in and watch it and then throw you $5 with PayPal or whatever payment gateway that you figure out. If you'd have 1,000 people watching and giving $5, that's $5,000 a month. And if you could do that as a comedian, as a musician, as a speaker, as a million different things you could figure out, whatever creative way you could figure out how to sell an hour of your time or 2 hours or whatever it is. Let's say you do a day workshop and 1,000 people come in and hang out with you and enjoy you for the day for $5. If there's 1,000 people, that is a lot of money. I think that people can think $5,000 is not a lot of money when, say, you might think of $5,000 in a year. That's not quite living wage if, at least in America, if you make $5,000 a year. But if you had 12 products, or 12 shows, or maybe it's that you have 24 shows, you can only wrangle up 500 people, but that's still potentially $5,000 a month. And I'm thinking about it in a way of, if I have a release schedule and I have 12 products on my release schedule and I'm going to release 12 products a year, I only need 1,000 people to buy each one. So let's do some math. That's 1,000 customers times a $5 profit per sale times 12. Let's say there's one product a month or product, concert, something. That's $60,000. Now you can definitely live off of $60,000, especially if you have a partner and they're kind of doing the same thing, creating their own things that's kind of the business of being themselves, and they're creating their own products. Let's say they have 12 products to sell in a year, and y'all both are doing it. That's $120,000 a year, which is a phenomenal amount of money just doing whatever you want. And I'm talking about making $5 after everything's said and done. You've got the materials, you spent the time making it, it's all doable. Or what I prefer is to make something once that you could sell over and over and over again. You could sell 100,000 in one day, and it doesn't really matter because you've already made the product once. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, like making a book or making a movie or doing a print-on-demand product or whatever endless amount of creative things that can happen. Mainly, I just wanted to talk about Juliana Hatfield and somebody creating something every month, a show every month, that maybe, she's not on MTV and on radio stations and all of her magazines anymore, but she's still super creative, super good, still rocking out, still making music, and still trying to connect with people and perform. I feel like if you're 16 or you're 60, I feel like there's something that you can make to get 1,000 people to buy it and make $5,000 for the year. If you could do it every month, that's a lot of money. And maybe you could only get 500 customers to buy your thing for the entire year, but that's still $30,000. So 500 times 5 times 12 products, $30,000. I feel like breaking down products and services or concerts or whatever thing that you can sell and get people excited to spend time and money with you, or at least $5. I feel like thinking about it in this way is a lot more relaxing, a lot less stress. Give or take, some products might be total losers and nobody's interested, and some might be pretty popular and they kind of float your 12 projects a year or products that don't sell. So maybe nothing sells and you've tried a product a month, and then by the 12th month, you've kind of gotten really great at creating a product and letting people know about it, and maybe finding your tribe of people that might be into you, exactly what you're into. Maybe you don't make any money for a whole year, But the entire year of building stuff and making things and talking to people and getting out there, that work that can happen that doesn't actually make you money. Maybe it's just kind of marketing and practicing podcasting or practicing making videos. Maybe maybe you have zero sales and nothing happens, but the things that you've learned and you've built over time, maybe the next year and the next year of 12 products that you're trying to get 500 or 1,000 customers to buy for $5. Maybe it all comes together in the second year. There's no one way to do it. And I think that's where a lot of people get sad about making it, or get sad about not making it and feeling like nobody cares about what you're doing. A lot of times we don't appreciate the developmental phase of figuring out how to make a business being yourself. And that can get you really down, and you will have failure fatigue because it could take years before you figure it out. But I think if you don't give up and you keep trying and you think in smaller chunks and think of, how can I make a $30,000 salary a year just doing whatever I want? How can I make 60? Making $60,000 a year just being yourself and having fun creating things that only you could create is hard, and not everybody can do it, but it definitely is possible. I think it just takes trial and error and making some flops and probably embarrassing yourself a little bit. It's possible. And I don't know. That's just kind of how I think about it, to kind of keep me relaxed and keep me creating, because sometimes when you think this is going to sell millions, I'm a rich guy now, and then nothing happens, I feel like, okay, you gotta spread out your resources a little bit, spread out your product and your product development, and try new things and different things, and don't get down and don't give up. So I guess that's the show for today. I still don't know how to end the show, but I almost do, so I'm just going to play the music.